One of the larger waterfront parks is Halifax Harbor Marina and Park. This beautiful 60-acre facility is a working 550-slip marina that offers a host of amenities to boaters and is walking distance to downtown shops and restaurants. With multiple fishing piers, free boat ramps, walking paths, and beautiful water views, this outstanding park and marina is a great way to enjoy the Daytona Beach waterfront. Just up the street, we have another uniquely Daytona Beach space in City Island Park. Situated along the Intercoastal Waterway, this park is perfect for fishing or relaxing by the water. This riverfront area consists of a large recreational field which hosts many special events throughout the year, a beach volleyball court, a playground, picnic areas with grills, a boat dock, and onshore and offshore pavilions. Also located at City Island Park is the Halifax Rowing Association and Jackie Robinson Ballpark, which is widely recognized as one of the best ballparks in minor league baseball. Further inland, you will find the centrally located Tuscaloosa Park. This 30-acre park was created around a natural coastal hammock and is jam-packed with exciting family activities. Enjoy the natural beauty with a treetop aerial adventure course. Challenges include zip lines, ropes, wooden bridges, and nets, making this a great family fun activity. Also nestled in this beautiful natural Florida park is a playground, picnic areas, volleyball courts, horseshoe pits, and an 18-hole disc golf course. Another great park to experience is the Samuel Butts Youth Archaeological Park. This truly unique park was named for local archaeological hero Samuel L. Butts, who collected Indian pottery fragments, animal bones, and skeletal material from time periods as early as the Ice Age. Today, this nature preserve is a sanctuary for aquatic life and migratory birds. Other amenities include a fishing pier, gazebo, trails, and ample open space to enjoy. Great news for music lovers, as Daisy Stucking Park is undergoing a complete renovation. The amphitheater is staying, and the surrounding park will be transformed into an urban oasis, ready to host concerts, festivals, and other events for years to come. Daytona Beach has provided so many public spaces for the community to enjoy, it's hard to fit them all into one video. Along with many full-featured spaces talked about so far, there are many more well-utilized local spaces designed to serve specific needs of our community. Whether a quiet place for contemplation, an exercise trail, a basketball court for a pickup game, or a playground for the neighborhood kids, Daytona Beach knocks it out of the park when it comes to parks and recreation. Just like with our community centers, the city's parks are available for the public to reserve or to be rented through the Parks and Recreation Department. Simply call 386-671-8250 to reserve a date, or stop by City Hall in person and allow the Parks and Recreation staff to personally walk you through the application process. Once your application has been submitted with all the necessary supportive documents and payment, staff will work closely with you as your permit is reviewed. If approved, with final payment and site plan, you can begin to utilize one of the many Daytona Beach parks for your very own community or family event. This is another example of what goes on inside Daytona Beach when staff members work together to make the city's most valued commodities available for its public and to help make Daytona Beach truly world famous. From the community parks all over the city to the entire Parks and Recreation staff, this was a look inside Daytona Beach. There's a lot that goes into serving the citizens of Daytona Beach. Staff members strive to deliver an experience that's worthy of being called world famous. Some work happens in the communities where we live, while a lot happens behind the scenes. Inside offices spread across the city are staff members working hard to ensure that Daytona Beach is a great place to live, work, and play. Let's shed some light on what's happening to serve you. Let's take a look behind the scenes and see what's happening inside Daytona Beach. This episode of Inside Daytona Beach, we'll look inside your utility bill. There is a lot more to utility billing than just the water bill. In fact, your utility bill covers water consumption, sewer collection, solid waste collection, and stormwater fees. Extraordinary efforts were made to achieve a user-friendly citizen experience, whether registering as a new customer, transferring service, or simply paying your utility bill. The process can be done completely online from the homepage of the city's website at www.codb.us. Alternatively, a citizen may wish to visit City Hall and initiate the process in person.
March 14, 2023, City of Daytona Beach Special Magistrate Proceedings. At the outset, I've reviewed and approved the February 14, 2023 minutes. Do we have any announcements before I proceed with this morning's cases?
Yes, sir. Starting on page number 3. Case number 7, SMG 03-23-69, Tomoka Road parcel is in compliance 3/11/23. And case number 8, same page, SMG 03-23-70, 945 Tomoka Road parcel is in compliance 3/11/23. Page number 4, case number 10, SMG 03-23-73, South Martin Luther King Boulevard parcel is in compliance 3/13/23. Same page, case number 12, SMG 03-23-75, 632 South Seagrave Street parcel is in compliance 3/9/23. Page number 5, case number 16, SMG 01-23-01, Rose Avenue parcel is in compliance 3/10/23. Page number 6, case number 18, SMG 02-23-44, School Street parcel is in compliance 3/13/23. Page number 9, case number 29, SMG 02-23-57, 1717 Mason Avenue, Building 300, Apartment 322, compliance 3/9/23. Same page, case number 31, SMG 02-23-50, South Atlantic Avenue parcel is in compliance 3/10/23. And that's it. And if we could call case number 40.
All right, will all those representatives for the City of Daytona Beach that will be testifying at this morning's proceedings, please stand and be sworn?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? Thank you.
All right, we're going to go to case number 40 first. Lauren and Herb Kawesh. Yes, sir, if you would please state your name.
Herbert Cowish.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, I have this matter listed as here for a progress report and determine a compliance date. Who's going to give me a progress report?
Go ahead. There has been very little progress done. On December 16th, I contracted with a contractor to take care of all of the issues. Yeah.
The text messages, what did he do? Disappear on you?
Correct.
Okay. And that was around the middle of February?
Correct.
All right. So what's the game plan?
I visited with an attorney, Jared DePaula, and he gave me my next step, which is to write a letter to dismiss this contractor and try to get my $30,000.
$30,000?
$30,000, yes, sir. Because he had to pay engineers, and I found out later someone else to act as the GC. And when I called the engineering company, which he had listed in these texts, they had no knowledge of him, his company, or my address. So currently, literally currently, my management company just texted me that she has a meeting with one general contractor today at 1 and 2 others coming up.
Okay. All right, somebody refresh my memory. How long is it gonna take for this property to get brought into compliance once we have a contractor on board?
4 to 6 months.
4 to 6 months. Okay, all right. What say the city to what I've heard?
I mean, unfortunately, since there has been no movement, we're asking to set a compliance date for the April hearing. I'm sorry, we want to go with, in light of the circumstances, for June.
Well, April's too early and June's too far.
I guess that means May, sir?
Recognize your dilemma, and I sympathize with you, but at the same time, I'm the mean guy that's got to get the job done. So, I want to know what your steps are moving forward, so I can satisfy myself you're doing everything you can that could be expected of you, given the circumstances. And so, as it stands right now, you're still looking for a contractor.
Yes, however, all of the work that does not require permits, I will be able to get done. I have a handyman who's a very good handyman, and he works for me very expeditiously. So what Mr. Yates had said about some painting issues, or things around the windows and such, I can certainly get done. What requires permitting, I believe, requires an engineer's drawings to get the permits for.
What
And
is
that
this
takes time.
structure? Is this a multifamily structure?
It is, it's 4 families, 3 buildings.
And they are occupied.
3 out of the 4, the upstairs. Right, the upstairs unit, because of the dilapidated stairs, has not been.
All right, we have any life safety issues here I need to know about?
I mean, it would be impossible for me to determine whether or not the structure is safe, but the structure in the rear is being cited for basically being propped up without receiving the permit. So those cinder blocks that are under there, none of that's been reviewed. Basically, somebody just came in and put them under there to jack up the structure.
And this was all done prior to my purchasing.
That is
the
correct. It is
property.
prior to
This
him
is-
purchasing it.
Yeah, and it had an active rental license when I purchased it, so I thought it was okay.
So these violations go throughout all the buildings on the property, or we are just focusing on one building?
2 buildings. 517 in the rear is the one where we noted the structural issue there, and then the main building is the one with the stair issue, as far as structural issues. But the other, I believe it's 519 in the back there, that one does not have any notes of structural issues or anything like
Well,
that.
that one wasn't lifted as well?
No.
Oh.
It was a 517 was listed for the unpermitted work.
And the unoccupied part of this is
The upstairs
the
of this
front building.
front building, yes, sir.
If we were to proceed with more time, basically what we would be looking at, especially you're speaking towards the May date, would be, I think at this point, new contracts to be signed. Because obviously, even with those getting signed, it's going to take time for the drawings to be produced, so work can't really start until that happens. So if we were to give more time, what we would, I think we'd be looking for is contracts signed.
Well,
And there
right
was-
now, we're in a state of flux, so my plan is for all of us to reconvene next month, so you can tell me, hopefully, that you've at least got a contractor on board who can then give us an educated guess, or estimate rather, as to what a reasonable compliance date would be.
And
I
hopefully they
recognize
will
your
stand.
circumstances again, and I
Yes.
sympathize with you, but unfortunately, we gotta keep moving forward here.
Yes, sir.
So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to continue this matter to next month's meeting for another progress report and another effort to determine a compliance date. And in the interim, I'm hoping you'll have a contractor on board, maybe even some permits applied for, and somebody who can, like I said, give us an educated guess as to how we come into compliance on the front building and the back building, which, to be perfectly honest, I don't like the looks of that at all. But I'm no engineer. I just don't build very many structures on top of concrete blocks,
I understand.
20 feet apart, but in any event. Okay, then we will reconvene next month, and please do
And
all
I've
that
got
you
my
can to
homework.
get a
Yes, sir.
contractor on board, and if you can get some permits in the works, that'd be great, too. All
Thank you,
right?
sir.
All right, good luck to you.
Absolutely.
Case number 1, J.D. Myers. Anyone here for the respondent? Yes, sir. If you would please state your name and be sworn by our secretary.
Yes, my name is Jim. I'm here representing my grandfather, J.D. Myers.
Talk. What's your name?
Good morning, I'm Jim Myers. I'm here. Jim Myers.
Okay. If
Can you not hear me?
If you would please be sworn by our secretary.
You raise
Jim
your-
Myers.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Do you agree these violations existed or occurred as stated in the notice of violation?
Yes.
All right, I find the respondent in noncompliance. Let's ask our inspector how much time should reasonably be required for you to come into compliance. What say Mr. Yates?
By next cutoff?
The city thinks you ought to be able to have this in compliance by April 5, 2023. What say you to that?
Yes.
Okay, then I will order the respondent to come into compliance by April 5, 2023, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per year. Pardon? Per day. I'm sorry, per day thereafter. You have to call the city for a final inspection once the work is done. Understood?
Understood.
All right, good luck to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Case number 2, New Car Wash LLC.
It's in compliance, Your Honor,
All right,
as of 3/9.
very good. Case number 3, John L. Dunbar. Anyone here for the respondent? Yes, sir. If you would please state your name and be sworn.
Jonathan Dunbar.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Mr. Dunbar, do you agree these violations existed or occurred as stated in the notice of violation?
Yes.
All right, I find the respondent in noncompliance. Mr. Inspector, how much time should be required for the respondent to come into compliance?
The staff is asking for till the May cutoff based upon the engineer drawing required for the stairs, which are the last remaining violation in this particular case.
Okay. All right, so I guess you're proposing May 3rd?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Dunbar, the city seems to think you ought to be able to have this taken care of by May 3rd. What say you to that?
Yes, I'm gonna do whatever I have to do to come in compliance and make sure it gets done.
Okay, I didn't understand. Are you awaiting an engineering report, or do you have an engineering report?
I have an engineer right now. He's just a few weeks out, maybe a month or so. He just told us it'd be a few weeks. When we did have him, my father took a little ill to dementia, and he's been real sick. So that kind of stopped the process the first time. But I have connected with the apprentice, and he assured me he'll be out within a few weeks to get the job done. He doesn't know a specific date, but he'll be giving me a call to come out to start the blueprints.
All right, then I'm going to order the respondent to come into compliance by May 3, 2023, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. This engineer starts dragging his feet, you call that gentleman right there.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
because he'll be your best friend if that engineer slows you down.
Okay.
Good luck to you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Case number 4, Jimmy L. Coleman Estate. Anyone for the respondent? Not seeing a respondent, what say the city?
Inspector Garcia, credentials on file with the City of Daytona. This case was field generated. Site inspection was done on February 14, 2022 for the outside storage and the parking on the grass. Notice was posted on January 6, 2023. Compliance deadline January 16, 2023, and the last day I re-inspected was on February 28, 2023. Result of my re-inspection, finding it in non-compliance. I have no contact with the owner. Staff is recommending finding non-compliance, compliance by next cutoff.
Any sign of work at all?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, based upon our noting the absence of the respondent, based upon our inspector's testimony, I find the respondent to be in non-compliance. In order the respondent to come into compliance by April 5, 2023, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Case number 5, Marmon Real Estate, LLC. Anyone here for the respondent? Not seeing a respondent, what say the city?
Good morning, John Stinson, Code Inspector with the city. This is a field-generated case for working without permits, outside storage, damaged fencing, exterior standing and broken windows. The first notice was posted on the property on 26th of January of this year. I have been in contact with this property owner. They have applied for permits. They're under review. The compliance date was 16 February of this year. Multiple re-inspections, the last one being of yesterday. Property remains in non-compliance. We're asking for compliance by the May cutoff.
By the May cutoff?
Yes, sir.
Is this a new structure?
No, sir. It's being renovated.
All right, noting the absence of the respondent, based upon the inspector's testimony, I find the respondent to be in non-compliance and order the respondent to come into compliance by May 3, 2023, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Thank you. Case 6, Alice Robinson, care of Linda Staton. All right, not seeing a respondent, what say the city?
Good morning, Inspector Bostwick, credentials on file with the city. All right, this case was a vacant lot case, field generated, opened on January 19th of 2023, overgrown vacant lot with trash and debris. First notification was on January 23rd. Compliance was due by February 3rd. Last day of re-inspection was March 9th. Result of re-inspection, non-compliance. There's been no contact with the owners. Staff requests a finding on non-compliance with compliance due next cutoff.
All right, noting the absence of the respondent, based upon the inspector's testimony, I find the respondent in non-compliance and order the respondent to come into compliance by April 5, 2023, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Case number 9, Teresa Jones. Anyone here for the respondent? Not seeing a respondent, what say the city?
This was a vacant lot case that was field generated, opened on January 11th of 2023. Outside storage on a vacant lot, trash and debris, overgrown landscaping. First notification was on January 26th. The property was posted. Compliance was due by February 6th of 23. Last day of reinspection is March 10th of 23. Result, non-compliance. I've been in contact with the owner. They're starting to clean it up. Staff requests a finding of non-compliance with compliance due next cutoff.
Noting the absence of the respondent, based upon our inspector's testimony, I find the respondent to be in non-compliance and order the respondent to come into compliance by April 5, 2023, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Case number 11, Sangha Priya and Champa Barao.
All right, this case was field generated.
Second.
Oh,
Yes, sir, if you would state your name and be sworn.
State your name.
My name is Sangha Priyabarua.
Okay. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yeah, I do.
Thank you.
Do you agree this property was in non-compliance as stated in the notice of violation?
Actually, sir, I was here. Now I moved. I live in the other city, Belgrade. I got the letter. I take care of that. I just come today and
Okay,
attend.
well, do you have outside storage, trash, and debris on this property?
I see a little bit. Yeah,
Little
I can
bit.
clean up.
Okay, good enough. I find the respondent in non-compliance. Mr. Inspector, how much time should reasonably be required for the respondent to come into compliance?
next cutoff.
Okay. Our inspector seems to think that you ought to be able to take care of this by April 5, 2023. How does that sound to you?
I
Can you
pray
have
for.
it taken care of by April 5th?
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay.
All right, sir.
All right. Have it taken care of and make sure you call him for a final inspection. If you don't get the final inspection, then as far as we know, you never did anything. So make sure you call him for a final inspection and have it cleaned up by April 5th, okay?
Okay.
All right. Having found the respondent in non-compliance, I order the respondent to come into compliance by April 5, 2023, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Case number 13, Brandon Wilson.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir. If you would please state your name and be sworn.
My name is Brandon Wilson.
Raise your hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Mr. Wilson, do you agree this violation existed or occurred as stated in the notice of violation?
I do agree.
All right. I find the property in non-compliance. Mr. Inspector, how much time should be reasonably allowed Mr. Wilson to bring this property in?
If I can stop you, sir?
Sure.
I did go to the property Sunday. I did clean all the brush up. I did clean the majority of the property. I do have the fence to contend with still in the front, and that's it.
Okay.
Oh.
I assume you think he should have it done by April 5th?
And he is correct. Yes, sir.
Okay, well, we're going to give you till April 5th anyway.
Okay.
And don't forget to call him for the final inspection once you have it done. It ain't good until the paperwork's in the file.
Makes sense.
And then once that's done, you don't hear from us again. All right, I'm ordering the respondent to come into compliance by April 5, 2023, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Thanks for the effort and good luck to you.
Thank you.
Case 14, Adiba Shuja. Anyone here for the respondent? Okay, not seeing a respondent. What say the city?
All right, this is a vacant lot case, field generated, open on November 11th of 2022, overgrown vacant lot, trash and debris. First notification was on December 28th of 22. Compliance was due by January 10th of 23. The last day of reinspection was March 10th of 23. Non-compliance, there's been no contact with the owners. Staff requests a finding of non-compliance with compliance due next cutoff.
All right, noting the absence of the respondent, based on our inspector's testimony, I find the respondent in non-compliance and order the respondent to come into compliance by April 5, 2023, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Okay, Thao No Lei and Yen Van Pham. Is anyone here for the respondent? Okay, not seeing a respondent. What say the city?
All right, this case was field generated, open on December 14th of 2022, overgrown vacant lot with trash and debris. First notification was on January 11th of '23. Property was posted. Compliance was due by January 23rd of '23. Last day of reinspection was March 9th of 2023. Result, non-compliance. I've been in contact with the owners, and they are cleaning the property up. Should be done by next month. Staff requests a finding of non-compliance with compliance due next cutoff.
Noting the absence of the respondent based upon the inspector's testimony, I find the respondent in non-compliance and order the respondent to come into compliance by April 5, 2023, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Case number 17, S. David Shaw and Lily Mae Shaw. Anyone here for the respondent? Not seeing a respondent, what say the city?
All right, this is the case where he's trying to combine both lots. I got an email from the city planner this morning. His package has been received, and all they're doing now is just working on it, so staff request to amend to the next cutoff.
Okay, refresh my recollection here.
All right, he has a storage shed on a vacant lot that he owns next to his primary residence. And instead of him moving
Removing the
the
storage shed.
He decided to go to the city to try to see if he can combine both parcels into one. And then he would be in compliance with having the storage shed on that one entire parcel.
So instead of just moving the shed,
Yeah, he's
he'd
going,
rather try to eliminate the boundary?
correct.
Okay, and what was it you proposed?
Man, to the next cutoff. If the city's gonna let him do it, he'll be in compliance.
Mr. Attorney, what all is involved in that? Aren't you talking about replatting?
Probably, I don't know the
Platted-
full answer.
A platted subdivision?
I'm not sure how they're approaching it. Ms. Fakel, there probably can be a couple of approaches. One would be, ultimately it would be a replatted subdivision, I would think. I would agree with that thought. I thought it would probably require some county involvement, but I don't know for
Some
certain.
kind of what now?
With the county as well, but I'm not certain. I'm not certain what state sharing or what it would take. It appears, at least
Is
the
that
inspection.
storage shed, by the way?
Yes, sir.
Huh?
Yes,
That little storage shed?
yes, because of that.
I think from the inspector's report, it appears that at least the city at this stage is authorizing the next step, whatever that is.
The city's gonna, once his application has been completed, it's in the queue for her review. He has quite a lot
An application to do what?
to combine the vacant lot and his primary residence.
What
into-
authority does the city of Daytona Beach have
I don't know
to
that.
rewrite a plat to a subdivision that's recorded over there in DeLand?
I don't know that answer. I can look into it so I can be able to advise you that, but at this moment, I don't know that answer.
She's gonna submit, once they're done with reviewing this application, then they submit this to Volusia County, then Volusia County will either say yay or nay.
All right, well, then how long do I have to wait for a nay?
Hopefully by next month.
All right, then I will continue the imposition of a fine until the April 11, 2023 meeting. Case number 19, Divine Deliverance Ministries Incorporated. Anyone here for the respondent? Not seeing a respondent, what say the city?
All right, since the last hearing, no progress was made, no contact from the owner. Staff requests a fine of $250 a day with a max of $15,000.
Is this a church?
Because the church owns that,
Pardon?
they own it.
So I'm finding a church.
Yeah, God forgive us.
Overgrown vacant lot with trash and debris. We can't get that taken care of?
Apparently, they're not interested.
Okay. Noting the absence of the respondent, based upon the photographs presented to the special magistrate, based upon the testimony of our inspector, I'm going to go ahead and fine the respondent the sum of $250 per day, commencing March 9, 2023, and that fine will continue to accrue each day thereafter until the property is in compliance or the amount of the fine has reached the sum of $15,000. Case number 20, Harbor Beach Resort Watson Association Management. Where is Fulton Street? Where is this property?
It's off of, Mary McLeod Bethune.
Okay.
Cross street is Lennox, directly next to
But he's not talking about your property.
Yeah, I'm talking about, all right, where off Mary McLeod? I'm familiar with Mary McLeod, but where's Fulton?
As you're heading towards, Nova Road, it'll be on your right-hand side.
Okay. I mean, is this property on a thoroughfare? Is it on does it front Mary McLeod at all?
No, it's on a side street.
Okay.
It's all the way down by the, auto.
By where those guys are like detailing cars.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right, I'm sorry, Harbor, yes, sir, your name?
Christopher Pachai.
Okay, if you would please be sworn by our secretary?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
And your affiliation with Harbor Beach Resort Watson Association Management?
I'm the Community Association Management, or under the Watson letterhead for Harbor Beach Resort. Harbor Beach Resort employs Watson Association Management, who I'm under.
Okay. All right, this was continued from a January hearing for a progress report and to determine a compliance date. What is this, a seawall matter?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what's the progress?
We started work on the 6th. The last time we were here, we were instructed that work was to begin before the cutoff date, so images of the work could be presented. I did bring images of the work. They've been chipping all last week. The first pour is this week, and we've had 2 engineering reports with status updates regarding progress so far. So it's scheduled to be a 4-month project, so we're very happy to see it started smoothly.
Okay. Well, you're happy to show your photographs to your inspector there. All right, 701 South Atlantic. 701 South Atlantic. Why does that sound familiar? Former Texan?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. All right. So, Mr. Inspector, are we satisfied with the progress?
Yeah, I was out there yesterday. There should be some photos from the 13th that does show that they have started some work.
Okay. Are we able to determine a compliance date, or do we need to wait on that?
They're telling me 4 months, so I don't know how far out the magistrate is willing to extend our cutoff, but
It ain't 4 months.
yeah, that's what we're being told for the project scope.
All right, why don't we come back in 2 months for another progress report, and then we'll establish a compliance date.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's schedule this matter for the May 9, 2023 meeting. And at that point, we ought to be in pretty good shape, assuming the progress continues as it is right now. And we ought to be able to determine a compliance date. All right, very good. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Case number 21, Dollar Daytona LLC.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So,
Hang
we
on
got
one
the.
second.
Sorry.
All right. Yes, sir. If you would please state your name and be sworn.
Leonardo Cronfler.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Your name again?
Leonardo Cronfler.
Are you an attorney?
No, I'm the owner of the property. The person in charge couldn't make it, so I'm here to replace him.
Okay. All right, this matter's here for the imposition of a fine, so let's hear from our inspector, Mr. Alderman.
Yes, sir. Since last hearing, there's been weekly updates, if not daily. There has been progress. There is a permit floating, but I don't know exactly where it's at, but we're at the point to where the permit is with the building department. So we'd like to amend to the April cutoff and allow them time to finish that process, and they state that they are ready to go as soon as that permit is ready, approved. And by the way, the property has been maintained on both sides since this has been going on, so it is clean and maintained.
All right, so you think it should be done when now?
By the April cutoff, please.
Okay, our inspector indicates that there has been work done, and he thinks you ought to be able to wrap this up by April 5th. What say you to that?
I think the work should be started within the next couple weeks. I don't know if it's going to be completed within April 5th, but it should be started within the next week or so. He's submitting permits right now.
Okay, we're in the permitting process right now?
Yes.
Okay, so what is the work that needs to be done?
A structure, a containment structure for the two trash cans that have been placed upon the east side of the building from the west with a gate because they are right off of Mason. The problem that we've seen is they've had contractors that have dropped the ball and they keep trying to get this done. At least from the chain of emails that I see that goes to Kim and Melissa, everybody seems to know about this as soon as I walk in the building department. It's just a matter of getting the contractor and the building permit together.
This property of yours is on a stretch of Mason Avenue that I consider to be nothing less than gross. I don't know that your property is one of the more egregious culprits, but I know there are a number around you that look horrible. So, the good news is I'm going to give you the additional time. The bad news is this place better look beautiful by the time you're done. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. I will amend our current order of noncompliance to allow the respondent until May 3, 2023 to come into compliance or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Okay, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Case 22, Jonathan Worsham III, Allison Worsham, Patrick Worsham. Okay, not seeing respondent, what say the city?
The city's asking for, there's been no contact with them, and there's been no movement on the property. There's been no movement at all. This is asking for the date, the compliance date.
This is the source of my angst when it comes to property owners deciding instead of just moving a structure 5 feet, they'd rather just rezone the whole freaking area. How long have we been wrestling with this one now?
The case opened on January of 2021. Was found in noncompliance by a hearing in September of 2021. The zoning change happened in June of 2022.
They rezoned the property.
They rezoned the property in 2022. The site plan was applied for in August of 2022, and revisions were requested in September, and there has been no movement since September on this property.
All right, what's the relief the city's looking for?
Compliance date by next cutoff, and everything removed from the property.
How long has this thing been sitting there stalled now? How far back do we go to the most recent activity?
September.
September, okay. I'm going to order the respondent to be in compliance by April 5, 2023, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter.
Thank you.
Thank you. Case number 23, Andre Rondeau and Odette Peralt. Anyone here for the respondent? Not seeing a respondent, what say the city?
Good morning, John Stinson, Code Inspector with the City. Qualifications are on file. Since the last hearing, there's been no change to the property. The compliance was due 12 September of '22. The city is asking for the imposition of a fine of $200 per day to be capped at $15,000.
Did you say 200?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what's happened? These people disappeared on us?
No, sir. He is present here in the city. In fact, I've got a case on another one of his properties. He's just non-responsive.
Okay. Noting the absence of the respondent, based upon the photographs I've been presented, based upon the inspector's testimony, I'm going to fine the respondent the sum of $200 per day commencing March 9, 2023, and that fine will continue to accrue each day thereafter until the amount of the fine has reached the sum of $15,000 for the properties in compliance. Case 24, Ellen Rosenfeld, trustee of the Virgil and Ellen Rosenfeld Family Trust. Anyone here for the respondent? Not seeing a respondent, what say the city?
Since last hearing, I've had several communications with the property manager. They have obtained a permit and finalized it for the roof. So now that that's done, the next thing will be the stucco, taking care of that. So as such, the staff is requesting to amend to the May cutoff, please, provide sufficient time.
All right, based upon the inspector's report, I'm going to go ahead and amend our current order of noncompliance to allow the respondent until May 3, 2023 to come into compliance or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. SIG Global Family Limited Partnership. Yes, sir. If you would state your name and be sworn.
Edmund Hennessy, SIG Global.
I'm sorry, state your name again.
Edmund Hennessy, SIG Global.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, this matter is here for the imposition of fines, so let's hear from the city first.
Since last hearing, I did have communication with Mr. Hennessy. However, there has been no progress observed. Staff is requesting a fine of $100 a day to be capped at 20.
What say the respondent?
So I bought this property about 5 years ago, and there was two dilapidated drug houses on there, which we bulldozed and vacated the entire property. This fence line right here, and I see on my survey, between my attorney and ourselves, it says that this wall that Mr. JB here is trying to tell me that I have to replace, that's holding up 4 other houses, is a retaining wall. So me as a developer and built multiple apartment buildings, that wall that's holding up 4 houses either should be shared between the owners of that property and me, but not just, I don't feel that I'm the only one that's responsible to replace a 150-foot wall, because that's a 6-foot retaining wall holding up 4 other properties. Because when I bulldozed those 2 other houses that were there, my contractors and my surveyors said that, because I have the survey right here, it says wall is on the line. So to me, we both share that wall. And the reason why this came up is because the neighbor behind me put the white picket fence up, and that's when this came up. So I want you actually to tell me, because I'll do anything. I just don't feel like I'm responsible for a wall that's holding up 4 houses. I think that there should be a shared act
When
within.
you say the wall's on the line, what are you talking about?
Meaning
It straddles the line? It's on your side of the
survey
line?
line. It says on the line of the survey between me and the adjacent property owner. So it's saying that brick wall is stating that it's right in the center of our property lines.
And their property line?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Which I spent over
So you're telling me-
$40,000 to do.
You're telling me the imaginary property line
Is right down the center.
runs right through the middle of the block
Yes, sir.
that comprises,
And I've already spent over $40,000 to get rid of asbestos, all the two drug houses, all the people that were living in there illegally.
okay.
And again, I'll do whatever Mr. Baptiste and you guys agreed to, but I just don't feel that that wall that holds up 4 houses 6 feet in the air That's called the retaining wall, and whoever built those 4 houses put that wall there to retain those houses. So,
So what does your attorney tell you is the solution?
I'm more than happy to just take the whole thing down if you guys want.
Okay, what does your attorney tell you is the solution?
He wants you to tell him, to tell me, because it says on the line on
Did
the
he get
survey.
paid to do that?
Huh? Yeah, well, he told me that it's not my wall. So,
Told you it's not your wall.
yeah.
Don't know that I agree with that one, but I at least appreciate the fact that
That
you're telling me.
I feel that we
What
share
you're
it.
telling me is it's a common wall.
Right, I feel it's a common wall.
You're concerned that you rip that wall down and things start collapsing and then
Right.
then you're liable.
Exactly, so I'm kind of stuck in the middle here.
Okay, and you've got a survey verifying that the wall straddles the property line.
Yeah, it says right here, approximately wall on the line.
What say Mr. City Attorney to all this?
I'd like to hear what staff has done regarding that.
Okay.
All right, so if we could please go back to the very first picture. In regards to this case started because the neighbor that has the first property on Oleander, he obtained a permit or survey and he put up a fence. And once the fence went up, we were asking various questions. That's when he provided the survey indicating that where the fence is located, that's exactly where his boundaries are for his property. As such, the fence
Is your
was,
survey the same as his survey?
this is the survey from the owner that we're looking at on the screen right now, which shows that his fence or his property line falls right short of the wall in question. As such, he was able to get the permit and everything is okay.
So
The
what, we
next,
got dueling surveys here?
we have 3 surveys actually, sir. All surveys that we have, the very first one is from 2018. The most recent one is from 2022, which is what you're looking at right now, indicating that the property falls just short of the wall in question.
Okay. Now, one of the concerns he's expressed is that even if that's the case, that this is a retaining wall. So isn't that something of a hardship on his part as far as he knocks a wall down and houses start tumbling toward him?
So I'm not a zoning inspector. However, if you take a look at my last picture, you'll see that right there, you'll see that the previously back in, I forgot which year this was, but this is what the property looked like before
I cleaned
Mr.
it up.
Hennessy quote unquote cleaned it up.
3 buildings.
So as you can see there, that wall, the back wall, was part of his property. So it appears that the wall was severed in half, if you will. And so, yes, removing it may pose a hardship, but that's not for me to be able to,
But
make that
we're looking on the international angle now, not the coats, or not, I'm sorry, not Wild Olive. That's the other corner. That corner that's painted, that I painted, is the international side. That is the Wild Olive side. And there used to be an old pizza restaurant right there.
The wall with the yellow front faces ISB?
Yes, sir.
And the multicolored
Yes.
to the right
Yes.
is what your neighbors border on?
Is the retaining wall for the 3 houses that I bulldozed, or the 2 houses and the old pizza store.
And you're saying you remove that, the elevation of your neighbor's property is higher than what I'm looking at there?
Yeah, it's about 6 feet. I'd say 5 to 6 feet, right, Jamie?
just about.
Yeah.
It's worth noting that this was not a retaining wall. Originally, this was the structure for the pizza shop and the other houses. It was not a retaining wall.
To me, as a guy that develops stuff, it's something retaining 4 houses.
Well, if you take it down and stuff falls down, that's a retaining wall to me.
It will be, yes. It's functioning as a retaining wall presently, correct.
Okay.
What I would say, Ms. Fakel, is that if there is the consideration or thought that it may be a hardship, that would be beyond the scope of this board, and he would need to go to zoning. They may be able to do it as a staff determination, or ultimately go to the zoning board, the Board of Adjustment, to see if that is a hardship that can be
Okay,
allowed.
Let me see if I can find a more cowardly way out of this. What's the urgency for removing the wall to begin with?
It's just, it's
From the city's-
dilapidated.
From the city's perspective, it's dilapidated and needs to be repaired.
Yeah. I have no question on that.
And these pictures that you're seeing, the previous pictures, right there, the tenant in the middle, we've asked her to obtain a survey, which is the latest one, where they marked it short of the wall, that's where her property stops. According to her, she wanted to meet with Mr. Hennessy to go, find a way to be able to repair the wall, but since her survey shows it's not her, she says she wants nothing to do with it at this time. But again,
Yeah, I've knocked on their doors just to see, if we could have a discussion, and, I think what is it, 200 feet?
so,
Yeah, about 200 feet.
Is it 200 feet of wall?
Mm-hmm. That's the problem. And it's holding up 4 houses. I mean, there's 4 houses. I think there's 3 houses and a shed or some kind of structure. But all the trash and everything's been picked up. I mean, it's not there anymore. And that building's no longer there either.
These lots are vacant right now?
I bulldozed all 3 of them. I spent a fortune, especially with asbestos. My problem was people were sneaking in there sleeping and all the transients and drugs. So instead of dealing with all that, I bulldozed.
He is contending this is a hardship because he sees this as a potential liability if all of a sudden the neighbors' houses start cracking once he removes this wall. Where does he go for whatever relief he needs?
He would go to the zoning, and they would determine whether they can do it as a staff determination or if he would have to go to the Board of Adjustment.
Okay, those are your options. Is it your intent to pursue them?
Sure, yeah.
All right, then I will continue this matter to allow the respondent an opportunity to exhaust whatever administrative remedies he may have available to him to relieve the hardship that he's complaining of. So that having been said, how long does that process typically take, Tony?
If he has to go to the Board of Adjustment, I believe their deadline for application usually, you remember, it's the next to the last Tuesday. It's the next to the last week in the month, I believe. It's been a long time since I didn't know that.
All right, well, here's what we'll do. I'm going to continue this matter to our May 9, 2023 meeting. And at that point, we will either, hopefully, I'll be hearing that some other process is underway, and with that, we'll just stand by.
Yeah.
If, however, nothing's been done, then I guess I'll be reconsidering the imposition of a fine.
No problem. Something will be done.
Very good.
100%.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Case number 26, Willie Gilmore. Good morning.
Good morning.
You can pull that mic down.
State your name.
Juliet Parker.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Ms. Parker, what's your affiliation with Willie Gilmore?
That's my dad.
Okay. All right, we are here for the imposition of a fine, so let's hear what the city has to say.
Okay. Good morning, Sarah Kirk, Inspector with the city. My credentials are on file. Since the last hearing, I have had contact with Mr. Gilmore and his daughter. There has been some progress. There's still some work that's going on regarding the dumpster enclosure and some renovations on the interior. So staff is requesting to amend to the May cutoff for compliance to allow time.
All right. The city seems to think that work is underway, and they sound somewhat satisfied. But they've suggested this ought to be done by May 3, 2023. What say you to that?
I agree.
Okay, very good. Then I will amend our current order of noncompliance to allow the respondent till May 3, 2023 to come into compliance or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
And don't forget to call on your inspector for a final inspection.
Yes, thank you. She's been very helpful.
Thank you.
They all are. Case number 27, Robert Klenk.
Good afternoon, or good morning, Your Honor. Barry Hughes on behalf of Mr. Clank.
Good morning. Okay, this was continued from the February hearing to determine compliance or non-compliance. So, I don't remember why the matter was continued. Why was the matter continued?
Several meetings ago, we had concluded that the position of Mr. Hughes on behalf of Mr. Klink is that they believe their circumstance was a grandfathered situation based on many years of permits and authorizations that they've had over the period of the ownership. And as a result of that, the city had intended on meeting on this, and it was a determination that we'd need a special meeting to handle this, because the belief was it would take several hours to, at least a couple of hours, for a proceeding. We have not come to a solution between the city and Mr. Klink and Mr. Hughes at this point. And some of it is really more due to just time more than anything, but we haven't resolved it up to this point. And so my thought is that the best thing is for us to just go on and schedule the special meeting and get it wrapped up one way or another. Basically, the circumstances that there's equipment being stored on one of the lots where we believe that they're not permitted to do that. They believe it's part of an extension of the existing or the past authorizations that they've had over the years. And so that's where we're in dispute, and we're trying to see if we can get that resolved short of the necessity of an extended hearing.
Okay. How does that sound to the respondent?
That's fine, Your Honor. We can go ahead and have a hearing, a special hearing on whether we're in compliance or not in compliance, or whether we're grandfathered in.
Okay. All right, then we will go ahead and specially set this matter to be heard, and the secretary will go ahead and coordinate that. I'm telling you right now, if somebody starts talking about grandfathering, I know just enough about zoning law to be dangerous, and I thought grandfathered uses at some point would sunset. So I'm just going to mention that to everybody as a topic of conversation I'm going to expect you all to get into when we have this hearing. So that's all I'm going to say. Pardon?
Yeah, I was going to ask Mr. Jackson how much time he thought he was going to need, so I could, we could coordinate that with the secretary.
Yeah, I thought less, but I was convinced from your view as well as Mr. McKelger on that initial meeting that y'all felt it would be at least a couple of hours.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would rather be more than less, so I would say 3 hours, but it could probably it would be completed within 2 to 3 hours, I think.
Okay. All right, whatever.
And we will continue talking up until that point. The city is still looking at some things that we had not, we were not on our final determinations up when we last met. And Mr. Hughes was made aware of that. So the city is still looking at the whole circumstance, and it's possible we may get a solution before then, but we don't want to just continue to drag it month to month without getting a resolution.
Very good. All right, then I'll wait for the hearing.
Okay, thank you.
All right, have a good day. Case number 28, Indigo Lakes Golf Club.
He has another case, I think. Correct.
Oh, you have another case, Barry?
I do. It would be number 42.
All right, let's go to case 42.
And my client is online on this one. That would be Michael Aversano. And his wife is one of the owners of the property, so he has personal knowledge, and he's been working through some of the issues here. So he will probably need to be sworn.
Okay, case number 42. Go ahead and swear the witness, if you would, please.
State your name for the record.
You need to turn your
1 second, please. Is that better?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Thank you. I apologize.
State your name again.
Michael Aversano.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, this matter is here for the imposition of a fine, so let's hear from the city.
Inspector Jean-Baptiste for Inspector Jones. According to Mr. Jones' notes, Since last hearing, he's had no contact with the owners or their attorney. There has been no submittal to the planning department or the building department. No projects has been opened as of today. As such, staff is recommending a fine of $250 a day to be capped at 20. That was it.
All right, well, what was the work that you were expecting to see? I saw a photograph of a building with a car parked next to it.
Fortunately, sir, I do not have that information as to Mr.
Jordan, I can answer that question. This is that case where my client is the purchaser of the property that was not in compliant, that was subject to a code enforcement proceeding, and my client had mistakenly believed that there was compliance and there was not. And this is the case where Your Honor reduced the fine of the prior owner, even though the property was not in compliance. That's this case, and that's the discussion we had. And I have seen the efforts of Mr. Aversano with regard to the engineer. It would be a Roger Stracula of Upham Engineering. He has indicated, and by email to Mr. Aversano, that I have seen that he has sent an email to the city saying that he's going to be involved in this. He has requested that there be a topographical survey. Mr. Aversano has been trying to work with Mr. Stracula to get a topographical survey so that the building permits could be applied for. It was at least my understanding, and I believe Mr. Aversano's understanding, that the engineer had been in touch with the code enforcement officer, as we understand the importance that they see that something's going on. But I have seen the emails from Mr. Stracula, and that's why Mr. Aversano was sworn in, and he can provide a little bit more input into this. But, you know, I personally had thought that there had been contact by the engineer. I certainly have not spoken to the officer. Mr. Aversano, what efforts have you made?
I've been trying to reach Roger for the topography and to get this process started. So I was assuming that he was in contact with the city as well, with you, because at this point, I have no knowledge other than what I received this morning, which was, I'll quote him, "Due to unexpected issues on current projects, he could not get the paperwork or anything to us at this moment. He assured me he would have it at least started. He didn't specify when, but I have been on him every day via email, text, and calls, and this is what I received this morning."
And I have seen the emails of Mr. Aversano to Mr. Stracula, if that gives any credence. But he has been attempting to get this engineer to make contact with the city, and I had thought it happened.
Okay, I guess okay, first off, you're not the inspector.
That's right. Inspector Jones is out on leave, and I'm just reading his information that he provided.
All right. Well, you know what? We're all here. This notice of violation says overgrowth, outside storage, junk vehicle parking.
And the parking was parking on the unimproved surface,
Okay.
so that's why the parking came in, and they're supposed to put in the
They are
parking
trying
lot.
to remedy that by doing what?
Installing parking surface, approved parking surface.
So you're trying to install basically a parking surface,
That is correct, Your Honor.
and that's why you're getting the topographical survey.
Correct. And then they're gonna have to send engineered plans with the landscaping, the drainage, and so on to, I guess, a site review. And then they have to go through a process to review it. And then once they review it, hopefully issue a permit. And then we have a contractor lined up to do the work, as I understand it from Mr. Aversano.
And where are we in that process right now?
Your Honor, I hate to say it, but we're at the beginning of that process because we're having trouble getting an engineer. We had retained an engineer several months ago with Zahn Engineering. I'm not sure where that went. Then Mr. Aversano hired another engineer from, I believe, South Florida, which is where he's located, and that engineer basically thought the project was too much for what they had going on. So then I reached out to an engineer, Seamus Schroeder, who's been doing some other work on some other projects, and he was overbooked. So I reached out, and he referred me over to Upham. So I went over to Upham, and that's how we got Mr. Stracula.
So is Mr. Stracula on board or not?
His emails indicate he's on board. He's told Mr. Aversano what he needs, and Mr. Aversano has replied. And that's where we're talking about the topographical survey. But again, Your Honor, this case is as frustrating as tar for me, because we're not able to get an engineer to do the work. And I'm not sure why. Every engineer that I've talked to, and I've talked to 4 now. And Mr. Stracula has indicated, yes, he will get there, but he hasn't. And this has been about probably 6 to 8 weeks out that we've been having contact with him.
I'm going to continue this matter till next month's meeting.
Ronnie,
I sure hope you have an engineer on board by then.
Okay, I understand, Your Honor. I'm sorry about this. I'm as frustrated as Mr. Aversano is, and I think the inspector is.
If I can just say one thing, Mr. Verkelder, one of the challenges we've been having as far as staff is that there hasn't been any communication to the inspector, according to Mr. Sykes. So that's been a challenge, just being able to keep up and have some knowledge of where we're going with this and trying to, whatever we can do to keep it going.
Mr. Hughes, we need a point man to communicate with our inspector. Who's that going to be?
I hate to say it, but it's probably going to be me, so I'll do it.
Good. I was about to suggest you.
I think that's what you're asking.
Okay, so your inspector can contact Mr. Hughes, and Mr. Hughes will report to y'all.
All right, thank you.
And I'll send an email to Mr. Stracula as soon as we get off this meeting.
All right, we'll continue this matter till next month. And if we don't have a game plan by then I guess we have to start thinking other things. All right, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Case number 28, Indigo Lakes Golf Club.
State your name.
Edward Peterson.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, is this the one where I reviewed stuff and came to the determination it was on y'all?
I believe so,
For lack of a better
sir.
term?
Lack of a better, yes, sir.
Okay, and now we're here for a compliance date.
Yes, sir.
Let's say the city as far as the compliance date is concerned.
Um,
Well, let me ask something else. What constitutes compliance?
he would have to clean the culverts as well as remove the dead trees that are out there.
So this is a maintenance matter.
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
Staff requests to amend to the next, non-compliance, compliance to the next cutoff.
Okay, what say the respondent?
I agree, Your Honor. If I may, though, I think it would be advantageous if I could have the code enforcement agent, Mr. Butler, to come out to the property to show the surveys, to show that it is actually the homeowner's property based on the surveys and the readings on the survey. This is their plat and their survey. And I would be going on private property in order to clean these
Don't
issues.
you already have an easement to do that?
But it strictly states on here that it's the homeowner's responsibility for that area because the property is 17 back. So on here, it states that it's the homeowner's responsibility for the culvert and the outfall because it is on their property. I am more than 30 feet away from the property lines. So I didn't want to go on private property because if there's an issue on private property, they will hold me responsible. But I'm more than 25 to 30 feet away from the property line where this culvert comes, which is access from the street prior that comes down. and
Where
feeds
does your
the-
maintenance responsibility end?
Right at the golf cart path.
Mr.
So,
Kelly,
what?
if I may, if I understand this right, it's the homeowners that are requesting for this to be accomplished. I don't know why they would not grant consent for them to enter their property to get to the,
Well, I understand that, but I also understand his concern. He's dealing with, I suspect, what he considers to be a contentious lot that may or may not assist.
Correct.
Okay? I'm sure nobody was particularly happy with my decision, but whatever. But he raises a legitimate concern. His easement has parameters. On that, he's at risk. So I'm asking, I mean,
well, it's going to the extent if he's not granted consensual entry. I mean, if they consent to his entry, I mean,
As long as they consent, that's fine. I mean, are there a multitude of homeowners whose properties you'll have to
Yes,
go on to?
yes.
If I may, Your Honor, I can speak on this. He will be granted permission. There's been a lot of complaints out there. I've met with them on numerous occasions, so they will grant him access to get this resolved.
I appreciate your thoughts. There's always a wild card out there. Okay. And I mean, I don't understand. Your easement doesn't include going on to private property
No,
for the purpose of clearing the path to culverts and what have you?
it strictly stipulates that it's the homeowner's responsibility. This is their survey, this is their mapping. And if I'm on there, then I'm considered trespassing because I'm not a part of that unit, PUD 5. I am separate from the Indigo aspect of it with the golf course. And there's a large distance in between where I would have to go on their property. That culvert is actually, she owns actually part of the corner of the lake there, and I would have to intrude on everyone's private property in order to maintain that, where they have a homeowners association, which has a landscape crew that comes, that should be more than capable of maintaining that aspect of it. Because it's a very complicated piece of property. It snakes in and out. There are divisions where I'm responsible and homeowners are responsible.
Okay, y'all still have the stuff that I reviewed when I made the initial determination? I don't want to look at it now. I don't want these people waiting on that. But do we have the stuff?
Yes, I'm sure we do, Mr. Calder.
Okay, then I'm going to look at the stuff. You're going to remind me how I walked through this. As I looked at it and I came to the conclusion, I'm familiar with your language. And all I can do is I can just vaguely recall that there was something about the surveyor that trumped the language, at least as far as the issue that was before me. So now I will look at it one more time to satisfy myself as to what has to be done and to what extent you can go onto private property. And I understand the homeowners are all for it. That's great. If I were these people, I'd want to see it in writing first, to be honest with you, at a minimum. But in any event, I will take a look at the materials that I kept, and then I'll issue a ruling on this.
Yeah, I will remind you, part of it was because of the city expressly exempts itself from private agreements, and this was looked at as a private agreement in terms of what the developer and the homeowners were agreeing to regarding
As
the
far as
maintenance.
enforcement of the, yes, I understand. I mean, you're reminding me, there were ordinances that came into play that impacted the interpretation of the legends on your plans. But in any event, let me look at that, and I'm going to come up with some sort of determination. I'm going to try to come up with a determination as to the extent of the work that you would be expected to perform.
Thank you, sir.
Then we can talk about a compliance date. Is there some urgency right now, or properties flooding as we speak, or anything like that?
No, sir, but I can tell you during the storm, the culvert that we just looked at, that home that sits on the corner, it did flood from it. Yes.
All right,
That
well,
one.
I'm gonna have to look at the plans, and I'm gonna have to give this some thought. I thought we were just dealing with outflows that were at or within whatever easements you had for maintenance purposes of those culverts or what have you. I didn't give any thought whatsoever to you tromping up onto private property.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you, sir.
All right, so I'll look at it. I'll
Thank you,
come
sir.
up with a ruling. My first ruling is just going to be the extent of your liability as far as the maintenance is concerned, and I mean liability as far as performance. I don't want to say liability. The extent of your required performance to come into compliance. You know, and then we will probably have to come back to establish a compliance date. Because I mean, as you sit here right now and you have a bird's eye view of what you're talking about, do you have any idea how long it's going to take to come into compliance?
Oh, that would take 1 day, sir.
1 day?
It's just a small culvert that runs with 6 units right there, and then the trees there.
That's what we're talking about here?
It's also, you see by the pond, and then there's another area with the culvert that runs directly across from that, that's attached to that area right there. It's on the other side of the lake. It also needs to be cleaned up.
All right, I'll take a look at the plans. I'll make a determination.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And then we'll I'll make the determination. If there's need for us to have another hearing just for you to have a compliance date, we'll do that. If you tell me it's one day, you maybe have a mind to just do it. I don't know. We'll go from there.
Thank you, Your Honor.
But the first thing we'll do is we'll determine the issue you raise regarding your obligation to go onto private property to get this done.
Thank you, sir.
All right, have a good day.
Thank you.
Case number 30, MHP Daytona Air LLC.
I'm sorry, Mr. Vakelja, could I clarify the continuing the last case was till April, correct? April 11th?
Yes, we'll continue the last case until our April 11, 2023 meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir, if you would state your name and be sworn.
I'm Jerry McCann.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
All right, this matter is here for the imposition of a fine, so what say the city?
Your Honor, since last month's court proceedings, I've had contact with the property manager here. At this time, they will be getting a final on the electrical work, so the electrical work is completed. It'll be finalized on next Wednesday. So I'm requesting that I amend to the next cutoff, and it should be done. That, and we're going to go out and inspect.
Yeah, this porch right here that you see with the lattice on it, it was just a closed-in porch. Somebody did it before we bought the property. But where the plywood was, there was a door. And with the step up right there, you had to step over that little wall. They did it for flooding purposes, I guess. But I moved everything, closed it off, cut the door in the back of a place. It's just an open porch. It's not contained to the house. You don't live in it or nothing, but I can tear it off. It don't matter. But if it's over a door or something, I'll do what I got to do to get it in compliance. But the electricals, I had to order a new panel, and somebody took the meter can box outside the place, so I had to get a new one of those. But Monday and Tuesday, the electrician will be there again to finalize it, and we're going for an inspection.
All right, very good. And I'll amend our current order of noncompliance to allow the respondent until April 5, 2023 to come into compliance or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Good luck
Thank you,
to
sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Case number 32, Kelly Rose, Kristen and Kimberly Rueda, and Peggy Snyder. Anyone here for the respondents? What say the city?
Inspector Garcia, credentials on file with the city. Since the last hearing, I have had no contact from any of the four owners. No progress has been made within obtaining any permits to demolish the structures that, not the structure, but what was left over from the last time that they demolished the building itself, which is why we're here, because they didn't renew. They let the permit. They didn't get a final, so they let it lapse, and then they were supposed to get a new permit and continue with it, and they haven't done so. But they weren't at the last hearing also. So we're looking for, staff's looking for a fine of $100 a day, capped at $15,000.
Noting the absence of the respondent, based upon the photographs presented and the testimony of our inspector, I'm fining the respondent the sum of $100 per day commencing March 9, 2023, and that fine will continue to accrue each day thereafter until the property is in compliance or the amount of the fine has reached the sum of $15,000. Case number 33, Bobby Robinson. Not seeing respondent, what say the city?
Since the last hearing, I've had no contact from with the owners. Once there also has been no progress made. Staff requesting a fine of $250 a day, capped at $15,000.
Noting the absence of a respondent, based upon the photographs presented as well as the testimony of our inspector, I'm finding the respondent the sum of, what'd you say, $250 per day?
Yes, sir. And one correction, that there was minor progress, which was the sheds that were on there. What they did is they put it on the adjacent property next door, but the vehicles still remain.
Anyway, find the respondent the sum of $250 per day commencing March 9, 2023, and the fine will continue to accrue each day thereafter until the amount of the fine has reached the sum of $15,000 or the property is in compliance. Case number 34, Denton 2 LLC. Anyone here for the respondent? Not seeing a respondent, what say the city?
Since the last hearing, I've had no contact with the owners, and there's been no progress. Staff requesting a fine of $250 a day, capped at $15,000.
Noting the absence of the respondent based on the photographs presented and the testimony of our inspector, I'm finding the respondent the sum of $250 per day commencing March 9, 2023. Fine will continue to accrue each day thereafter until the property is in compliance or the amount of the fine has reached the sum of $15,000. Case 35, the Center for Investments, LLC. Anyone here for the respondent? Not seeing a respondent, what say the city?
All right, since the last hearing, we've had no contact and no progress. I'd like to ask for a fine of $200 a day to $20,000.
How much?
$20,000.
Noting the absence of the respondent based upon the photographs presented and the testimony of our inspector, I'm finding the respondent the sum of $200 per day commencing March 9, 2023. The fine will continue to accrue each day thereafter until the amount of the fine has reached the sum of $20,000. Is that the old Masons building?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not the bar next to the Masons building, it's the Masons.
No, not the Iron Horse or Wild Horse.
Okay. The Center for Investments LLC, who's that? Owner or something like that?
I believe it's an investor who came in and bought it in October or August, whenever.
Okay. All right, case number 36, Vishnu Limited and MMA Shantoshi. Counselor, if you would state your name for the record.
Jessica Gow, a Cobb Cole Law Firm, 149 South Ridgewood Avenue, Daytona Beach, Florida.
All right, we are here for a progress report, 1000 North Atlantic Avenue. Unmaintained landscaping, dilapidated pool. What building is this?
What was its original name? Oh,
This is
goodness.
our motel on the corner of University and A1A.
It is. That's been partially demolished. It was under Vishnu originally. Shantoshi came in and bought it, and we've been doing progress reports since.
And what now?
We've been doing progress reports since that transition.
So what progress do we have to report since the last time we met?
So the site is undergoing site plan review for the new hotel. They received comments in the first week of March from the city. They need to prepare the resubmittal of those comments. I would estimate probably 4 to 8 weeks left on that site plan review, and then they apply for permits and they go under construction. So the general timeline that we provided has 10 months built in for construction after all permits are received. And so, I mean, that's where we are in the process, and we're chipping away, but it's still quite a while to go.
So what is the work that, I see people out there working, I don't want to say daily, I don't want to say intermittently, somewhere in between there. So what is the work that's being done out there right now? Looks like they're just kind of cleaning up.
I think they're just keeping the site. Yeah, I think they're just keeping the site maintained.
No, you guys are repairing the balconies currently.
Perfect.
Okay, I guess I should have asked you then.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. I don't offend anybody here.
Yeah.
What work's being done out there right now?
If you notice the supports between those balconies, the actual area between has been totally re-poured. Originally, it was without permit. They have fixed that now. They did get the permit, and they are working under permit.
Good. Good. Okay. All right, so what do I need to do next? We're waiting on site plan approval. Give them a couple months for another progress report?
Yeah, that would make the most sense at this point.
Counselor, another couple months for a progress report?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, then let's put this matter on the May 9, 2023 meeting agenda for another progress report. All right, thank you and good luck.
Thank you, and I also have case number 38, if we want to do that.
Okay, ESH Daytona Beach LLC, case number 38. Okay, we have a witness. Does he need to be sworn?
Sure.
Brian Croft, Silver Hills Construction.
Swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Was that Silver Hills Construction?
Yes, sir.
Where are you located?
Company is based out of Ohio. We are a Florida licensed contractor.
1216, which building is that?
It's the first apartments on the beach side in about 20 years.
It sure is. Hardly started on it, Mother Nature decided to take its seawall.
Mm-hmm.
Twice.
Is that going to be a 7-story structure when it's done?
Yes, sir. 6 occupied floors.
So you're already at your height now?
Half of our building is top height. Balance.
How many units are going to be in there when it's all done?
251.
251. Wow.
Mr. Kelly,
Sir,
do we
can
have
you come
some-
to the mic?
Apologize.
Oh, okay.
251 units.
And what happened? You had a seawall, then you didn't?
That's it. 1/3 of our seawall remains under our permit. We're to maintain that third, restore the decorative cap, and then replace the 2/3 that have been replaced. We are currently under construction for removing the debris this week. Hope to be digging out footings and unforeseen issues for the next few weeks.
So are we able to set a compliance date?
We expect we probably will not have all of our product in place, installed, and restored probably until September.
Okay, that's too far out for me to think about. Did you have any ideas, or are we going to come back for a progress report in a couple of weeks?
Given they're moving forward as they should be, I'd like to come back for a progress report in July.
All right, you got a problem with that?
No, sir.
All right, then I will schedule this matter for a progress report at our July 11, 2023 meeting.
Thank you.
Good luck to you.
Do appreciate it.
Okay, case 37, St. John's REVOC. I'm not sure what that means. Living Trust. So, St. John's Revocable Living Trust. There you go. I think that's what it means. Anyone here for the respondent? Not seeing a respondent. What say the city? Oh, I'm sorry. St. John's Revocable Living Trust. There we go. Yes, sir. If you would state your name and be sworn.
Donald Kane.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. What's your affiliation with the respondent?
I'm the owner
There you go.
of the
That'll work.
building.
That'll work. Okay, this matter's here for the imposition of a fine, so let's hear what, let's see what the city has to say.
All right, since the last hearing, we've had contact in progress, and everything has been completed except for the fixtures on the exterior globes, which you got this.
Exterior what?
The light fixtures on the exterior don't have, they were missing their glass globes, but
Okay.
he was getting that done this morning, and we haven't been able to do the inspection on the toilet because the owner recently went into the hospital. So I'd like to amend to the next cutoff to allow for the inspection to take place.
How's that sound?
That sounds good. Mr. Yates scheduled an inside meeting on the 21st.
Very good. All right, then I will amend our current order of noncompliance to allow the respondent until April 5, 2023 to come into compliance or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. All right, good luck to you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Case number 39, Joseph P. Torch.
morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. If you would state your name and be sworn.
My name is Stephen M. Weaver, Sr. I am a general contractor entitlement consultant residing at 1157 Bel Air Drive in Daytona Beach, Florida.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
And your affiliation with the respondent?
He's been a friend for a long time, and he recently retained me to help him navigate through a very difficult matter.
Okay. All right. Mr. Inspector, this matter is here for the imposition of a fine. What say the city?
All right. Since the last hearing, the permit had expired and a stop work order was issued for exceeding the scope. I've had no communication. I would like to make a recommendation of $100 a day to a maximum of $10,000.
All right, when did you come on board?
As of last Tuesday, Your Honor, I was verbally retained by Mr. Torch. I've spent last week working with Melissa Phillips in the planning department and reviewed all of the on-site conditions and the documents that are related to this matter. The property is unique in that the taking of the road right-of-way several years ago to widen put the entire front of the building in nonconformity, and then the improvement in the stairway codes that require a gentler slope than they did when the building was built makes the stairs require a variance. And Mr. Torch didn't quite get that from the information that the building department provided to him, but I've confirmed that's the case. I have the variance paperwork and beginning to fill it out. I know that's a couple months process, and I know that we probably won't be in compliance for 120 days. So I would hope that you might consider letting us come back in 60 and give you a progress report.
You're going to follow through on the variance application.
We have to go through, and we're not sure what's going to be granted and what's not.
I understand that, but if I sit there and say, okay, I'm going to put you all down for a progress report 60 days from down the road, I'm not going to come back in 60 days and find out no one even applied for a variance.
I'd be glad to have a stipulated timeline and not come back for 120 days, but I promise I will be following through on the variance request.
All right, well, I appreciate the 120-day request. I'm going to take your word at the variance request, so I'll reschedule this matter for 60 days down the road at that point in time. Hopefully, you will tell us you have a variance, or you can at least tell us where you are in the process. And then we'll probably have a sharper eye as far as establishing a compliance date at that point in time.
Very much appreciated, Your Honor.
Good luck to you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Weaver, one thing, I know you have the application. Did it say what the deadline is for application deadline?
I didn't bring them all, but
Okay,
I know how
all right.
that is. You got to be in 30 days before the hearing, and then there's got to be posted, so it may very well take you
always
longer,
comes-
but I can confirm that we'll have the variance request submitted within 30.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Very good.
You heard that conversation before.
As long as I see the progress, I'm happy.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Good luck to you. Case number
What was-
41.
What was the date?
The-
Your,
It would have been the June cutoff at that point?
Did you say-
May?
He just said 60 days.
Okay.
60 days, I'm sorry. Okay, so we're continuing that matter to the the May 9, 2023 meeting. That's for the progress report. Okay, case number 41, Americano Beach Resort Association.
Good morning, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can.
How are you? This is Attorney Brent Kimball, representing the respondent.
All right. We are here for a progress report. Who's going to give me a progress report?
Go ahead.
Looks like it's you,
Thank you.
Mr. Kimball.
Very good. The representative who's been in communication with Inspector Yates is Brian Smith. Brian Smith retained me Friday and shared the communications he's had with Mr. Mr. Yates, as well as a series of contracts that have been entered into with VHB to design and get the permitting on new seawall. Apparently, they're making the best of a bad situation, like a lot of the developers are doing here, or a lot of the associations are doing. And they're not just going to stop at the seawall, they're actually going to renovate the building itself, the pool deck. So there's a lot of work that's going to be done. I believe that those contracts have been shared with Mr. Yates, and I believe you had directed Mr. Smith to make sure that the contracts are in place in time for this meeting for design work and permitting, and that's been achieved. VHB is on schedule to take care of the design and permit submittals completion by July 14th.
Okay, what say the city? Well, let me rephrase that. What's going on?
Okay, so essentially, the thing that's happened between now and then is that they've contracted for design services. So that would require, and most likely until July before they do produce drawings, and then those drawings would be submitted to the city, and that would be the next large step.
Now, as I recall, when this seawall went, didn't it take a chunk of parking lot with it?
Yes,
And
you can see it right there. Yeah,
did it reach the pool or not?
It did not reach the pool. Whether the pool's been compromised or not, I do not know.
I know, it was, I
They're
just know,
still going to-
I just know it was extensive. And they pretty much had to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
That's
you know,
So now they're
I was looking forward to the Americano being done, and then came that last hurricane.
Mother Nature disagreed with us, sir.
What can you do? All right, so what are we doing right now? How am I leaving this?
I would say that we come back in 2 months and look at it again and make sure that we're just progressing as we should be and that they're hitting their milestones in their contract.
All right, then we will, I'm inclined to have another progress report on May 9th. What say, Mr.
Great.
Kimball?
Very good, sir. Thank you, Mr. Yates.
Very good. Then we will schedule this matter for another progress report at our May 9, 2023 hearing.
All right. Have
Thank
a good
you.
day, gentlemen.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Case 43, Victory Temple of God Incorporated. Anyone here for the respondent? Not seeing a respondent, what say the city?
Inspector Jean-Baptiste for Inspector Mark Jones.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Hello? Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can't see you.
Hello, hold on a second. Hello? Hello?
Now I can see you.
Yes, hello?
You're a handsome young man, right?
Yes, sir, I think so. At least my
All
wife
right.
does.
If you would please state your name and be sworn.
Yes, R.T. Hillary.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, who's going to give me a progress report? All right, Mr.
Okay.
Hillary, a progress report.
Yes, we got an email notice from the city planning department on yesterday. I forwarded to Mark email. They said that we should get something back from them this week. They didn't tell me which day this week, but they said we should get something back from them this week as far as our site plan review for approval.
This is review of what? Have we submitted a site plan?
Yeah, we submitted a site plan, yes.
Okay. And
Yeah.
you're hoping to have your approval this week?
Well, no, she said it would not be approval, but it'll be the initial review of what was submitted to her. She made sure she said that in the email.
So
So-
they're gonna send you their remarks to your site plan.
Yes, sir.
And then I assume you may have stuff to fix or you may not.
Right. Well, the way I read it in the email, that we'll have to have something, our engineer has to do something, so we get it back to them, then we'll get the approval. But it won't be approval this week. She said this is initial review of it.
All right? Okay, well, that's sounding about as nebulous as you can get. So I guess the only thing I can do is try to figure out what are we gonna do next? Reconvene in a month?
We're asking till May cutoff, please.
Okay. City is proposing we reconvene for another progress report on the May meeting. What say you to that?
Yes, sir.
All right, then I will go ahead and schedule this matter for another progress report at our May 9, 2023 meeting. And I guess all we can do is hope that you've got lots of progress to report.
Yes, sir. I hope so too.
All right, good luck to you.
Thank you, sir.
Case number 44, Daniel Marashi. Do I have a respondent? If not, what say the city?
Inspector Jean-Baptiste for Inspector Jones. Since last hearing, according to Mr. Jones' notes, he has had contact with the owner and explained what was required to come into compliance. However, no progress observed. As you can see in the pictures, the gravel base remains. And as such, staff is requesting a fine of $200 a day to be capped at $1,500.
1,500?
15,000, apologies.
All right. Based upon the photographs and our inspector's testimony, I'm finding the respondent the sum of $200 per day commencing March 9, 2023. And that fine will continue to accrue each day thereafter until the property is in compliance or the amount of the fine has reached the sum of $15,000.
Thank you.
That now brings us to lien review number 1. James Cortazar. Okay, yes, sir. If you would please state your name and be sworn.
We can't hear him.
Can you not hear me? Hello?
Can you hear me now?
I apologize for that. My name is Carlos Ferreros on behalf of James Cortazar, Your Honor.
All right.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we
Yes.
can hear you. All right, this is Mr. Cortazar's opportunity to explain some sort of circumstances that would warrant relief from the lien that's been imposed. So what say you?
Your Honor, it's my understanding that everything's been fully complied. It did not take that much time from the date of the imposition to the date of compliance. It's also my understanding that he was looking to pay a maximum of $1,000 to get this resolved, and that will be paid today through my office. And to officially have the lien the lien removed.
Okay, and what were the extenuating circumstances for the delay in coming into compliance?
Your Honor, Mr. Cortazar doesn't reside here. He actually lives out of state. This is a investment property that he purchased. It does look like it was from May 9th, 2019 to June 6th, 2019. It looks like a month from the time that the fine was entered. So he did as soon as it wasn't a very long time since the moment the fine was entered until he came into full compliance. I believe that the issue that we're here today is because of the fact that it wasn't addressed up until the full compliance was met at that time. So it looks like it was almost less than a month since the lien was actually entered until the time that it was actually complied with, Your Honor. And like I said, he was out of town. He has to hire different people to get there. I'm his attorney now, handling most of his real estate matters here in the state of Florida. So I'm making sure that everything else is in compliance, and I believe that there's no more further issues here. And again, we understand he needs to pay a fine, Your Honor, and I believe sometimes that the city had already, if I'm not mistaken, there was an agreement with the $1,000, obviously subject to this lien review, and my client has agreed to that, to pay the $1,000 and get this resolved.
Is that right?
That's correct.
All right, we're done for $1,000. Get it in.
Will do, Your Honor. As soon as I get I believe I'll reach out to, I believe I was reaching Mr. and Ms. Kimberly in the case, and I'll reach out to get the payment in today, so that way we can get this process today, Your Honor.
Very good. Make sure you get the payment in within 30 days. If that doesn't happen for some unknown reason, then the fine and the lien stays in place as is. So you've got 30 days to get it done. So sounds like you will. So get in touch with Ms. Reno and she'll help you out.
I have the money in my account already, Your Honor. I'm paying this thing today as soon as I get with a payment. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll send you the invoice.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right, bye-bye. Lien review number 2, Talib LLC and Jack C. Yates Sr., 601 Main Street.
It doesn't appear that they've are present, and so the preference of the city is not to go forward. It's their request for review. Mrs. Sykes has indicated that the code compliance manager indicated that they did have a pre-meeting, but don't have them here to actually acknowledge the outcome, and we would prefer that it would just be reset for when they are actually present for the meeting.
So what am I doing with this? Continuing it, denying it?
There appears to be clear that they want to resolve it, so yeah, if we can continue it, and we'll just handle it at the next meeting. And if they fail to appear, then we'll ask for a denial.
Do we know why they're not here?
We do not. I see head shaking no.
No idea.
Okay, then denied.
And we're okay with that, as long as it's understood without prejudice, so that they can come back.
It looks to me as though the respondents failed to appear, therefore, the request is denied.
Okay.
Lien review number 3, Ranganathan Kumar. Do we have a Mr. Ranganathan Kumar? Here we go.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. If you would, please state your name and be sworn by our secretary.
Say your name again.
Ranganathan Kumar.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, well, before I get into this, do we have any resolution that I need to know of?
I think we have
Yes,
his
sir.
son also is coming on Zoom.
Okay,
Yes.
Do we have someone else who will be testifying?
No, sir. He has been helping me, so I asked him to come to this meeting.
Okay. All right, do we already have a resolution?
Yes, sir. The city and the respondent have agreed to recommend a reduction to $1,500.
All right, Mr. Kumar, I'm being told you have an agreement with the city that you would be willing to pay $1,500?
Yes, sir.
All right, then I'll go ahead and reduce the amount of the lien, of the fine and lien to the sum of $1,500. That has to be paid within 30 days.
Yes, sir.
If it's not paid within 30 days, it stays the way it is.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so get
I'll
in
pay
touch with
today.
the secretary of the board. She'll assist you, and the city attorney will help you if need be as well.
Okay.
Very good.
Yes, sir.
Then I'll go ahead and approve the stipulation of the parties to settle the fine and lien for the sum of $1,500. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Lien review number 4, Total Makeover Properties LLC.
Go ahead and state your name for the record.
Jean Womal Semexant for Total Makeover Property.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Your last name again?
Semexant. SEMEXANT.
All right. And your affiliation with Total Makeover?
Managing partner.
You're what now?
Managing partner.
Very good. All right. Has there been any discussion between the parties as far as this fine or lien is concerned?
There was no agreement.
Okay. All right. It's your,
Your
to me, the extenuating circumstances that I should take into consideration in your request that I consider reducing or waiving this lien.
Your Honor, I contacted the building department. They said they sent a letter to you about the lien. What I have to add about that, during the process of the construction, I send a request for a second meter, water meter, and then during the due diligence, they the building department told them that I cannot have a second meter. Then because it's not a duplex, and then they asked me to do a use determination, and then that day they do a stop work order that was on September 15, 2022. I received an email from Miss Kimberly that put a stop work order for use determination. Then from that date, I was dealing with the permit department, and then they finally understand that it is a duplex. I can continue the works. Then from that, I went to certain review. We did a conference call on 9/23 with the building department. There was like several people on the line on that conference call, and then they agreed that it is a duplex, and they will say, once I get all the review done on the permit, on the plan, they will reissue the permit. So I had the permit back, reissue on November 5th. And then I went back again for the water meter. I paid for the water meter on November 11, so I believe it was installed in December. So in the meantime, I get several inspections done. And then in the meantime, there was a Hurricane Ian coming. Work that I was not expected to do, I had to do them, the damage for sulfate fascia and gutter damage. So I had to do all that after Hurricane Ian. Yeah, you can see all the sulfate and damage there. So all the work was done, completed by January the 7th. I have pictures showing all work were completed by January 7th. So I was, from the compliance, I was 3 days late. But the reason I was late is because of the stop work order by the building department for the use determination that started on September 15, and the permit was reissued on November 5th. So despite all that, almost a month and a half or 2 months, I was able to get the all work completed 3 days late on January 7th. The deadline was January 4th. So for that reason, I asked the special magistrate to remove all the lien that penalty that they put on the property.
All right, Mr. Stenson, give me your recollection as to this saga.
This case began with the building department notifying us that there was interior work going on without the proper permits. Stop work order was issued then. Additionally, while he was in between his permits, they were erecting a vinyl fencing on the property that was also being done without permits. The compliance did not come until 1 March because that's when the permit for all the work on the property was finalized by the building department.
How did it get final then?
I'm sorry, what do you mean?
Okay, he says the work was done on January 7th. Okay, we have a compliance date of March 1. I was wondering how that compliance date even came about. Did he call for an inspection?
Well, the permit on the work wasn't final until March. He may have been, or may have thought that he was done with the work in January, but the building department didn't sign off on the permit, saying that it was final and done until March.
Do we know why?
I do not.
We redone everything from the scratch, plumbing.
Okay, don't start from the beginning. I'm familiar with that already. Okay, I'm up around January 7 of 2023 right now.
Yeah,
So don't give me any more history. All right, hang on one second.
I was going
Okay,
to answer.
why
your
the
question.
multiple stop work orders?
The first stop work order was generated by the building department because they're the ones who noticed that the interior work was being performed. At the time, they were just dealing with the water meter issue, and there were no permits, no active permits for interior work. So the building department notified us. We issued a stop work order for that. They did finally get the permits for the interior, and they continued to do the interior work. However, in between the permits actually being issued for the interior work, they continued to work on the property. I mean, so that was the work without permits under that stop work order. Continuing down the line, as they continued to work on the property, and they finally did get their interior permits, then they installed the white vinyl fencing without a permit at all. So now that generated the second stop work order. So they had to stop on that one, wait for the fence permit to come through, and get it all finalized and inspected.
Okay, were you the one working with this gentleman throughout?
No, sir. Inspector Bromley from the building department was doing the inspections on the property.
Okay, I don't mean to sound insulting, but it appeared to you as though this gentleman understood the process?
He should have understood the process.
Know that.
It's
I'm
been.
asking you if it looked like he did.
I couldn't tell you whether or not he.
Okay, what were the
completely-
conversations between the parties regarding resolution?
The initial, there was an actual misprint of the initial fine. It was at 15. The correction from the time frames took it back down to 11,024. The discussions basically stalled at that point.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I want to speak, Denzel Sykes, Code Compliance Manager, and I'd like to speak to the question that you asked about should he have known. Well, when we was trying to come to an agreement, he did state that he had several properties, some, I believe, in Orange County as well. So he should know the process. And we went over and explained it to him.
What was the thing he was talking about with regard to the two meters? No, I was wondering if your inspector knew.
Well, he probably wouldn't know that because I think,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, now I'm not going to reduce it to 0, but I'm considering reducing it. What do you want to propose?
Your magistrate, the last question you were asked about January, why the final was in January 7, is because of when we did the final for electrical in December, before the holiday, we did the final for the electrical, but we didn't have power then. Then the city has to return to do a final on the electrical when we do have power. So first, FPL has to see that the city came in and approved the inside electrical before they schedule us for power. And then that take about a month. And when they finished, when they came in and when they came in and installed, because we changed all the meters outside and everything, all the cable. When they came in and do that, then we had to call the city again to do the final, the electrical. That's the reason it take to March.
That what now?
That's the reason it take to March, that you said, the question you asked at the beginning.
So what are you telling me? The work was done January 7th,
All work was done January 7, but we had
but
to
then you
go
had
to
to get
find
the
out.
city out there to look at it.
Yeah,
FPL then powered it up,
correct.
and then it was final.
Yes. Same for the water meter.
When did you ask the city? Okay, you're telling me you were done on January 7th.
Complete.
When did you call for an inspection by the city?
I believe it was in January 4th or January. The final electric was on January 9, and it fell. And then it fell on January 9, and then we passed on January 18.
You passed the city inspection January 18th?
January 18. The final plumbing was January 18. And then the building, we passed building inspection on February 27. Final mechanical was on February 20. Final electrical was on February 20. So,
Okay, so what happened on January 18th?
the electrical, I believe it was two outlet that was not power, that trigger when they put the stuff on it. That's the reason we didn't pass inspection.
Okay, so when did you pass inspection by the city for the electrical work?
On the 18, it was fell on the 9, and on the 18 we passed inspection.
Okay.
And then I would like you to consider also the hurricane, like I was telling Mr. Stetson. In between, Mr. Stetson talked about the fence also. That was later after we get the second the permit reissue, and then I explained to him that I hired a subcontractor that didn't pull the permit, but he was hardly
Okay,
listening.
I'm going to go
to me.
ahead and reduce the fine and the lien to the sum of $1,500, subject to being paid within 30 days. Okay? I don't find you to be without fault, but at the same time, I find that you did make an effort to try to get this done. I also find that you continually tripped over your own feet with multiple stop work orders and doing work that wasn't permitted. So in any event, but I don't want to revisit all of that anymore. I want this done. So I will reduce the fine, the existing fine and lien to the sum of $1,500 if you pay that within 30 days. If you don't pay that within 30 days, it stays where it is. As far as the payment is concerned, you contact that lady right over there, okay? And let me emphasize, if that's not paid within 30 days, it stays the way it is, okay?
Understand.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right. Am I moving on to miscellaneous business now?
Yes.
Okay. Abdulaziz H.W. Who?
Ma'am. Ma'am.
Hi.
Oh, okay, that's Miss Ross.
Hello.
No, Craig and Jessica Ross.
That's her. I don't know who she's here for then. I thought it was Miss Ross.
I'm here.
Okay, bear with us 1 second. Okay, is this the last matter on the agenda?
No, 601 Main Street has come back in.
Okay, I'm sorry, ma'am. Your name, please?
Jessica Ross.
And Craig Ross.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you've requested or asked that I reconsider the $15,024 lien that apparently the city has on an Elm Street property. What are the extenuating circumstances I should be taking into consideration?
Basically, we're not asking you to forgive the lien on that property. However, our property that we purchased in Daytona Park Estates in DeLand was cross-encumbered by name due to this property. We purchased the property from a second owner after the original owner, and we did not know there was a lien on it until our attorney did a title and lien search on the property and found there was a lien attached to it because of this property. And once again, it was a cross-encumbered. We're just asking our property be released from this lien because our property is not the Elm Street property.
What say the city?
Mr. Kelger, in the, this request for a release of the cross encumbrance, we're willing to agree to, without going into a lot of detail, I will go into it if necessary, but we're willing to agree to a reduction to a partial release to a $500 amount for releasing that property. This property was purchased with by a quitclaim. They discovered this after the fact, after they made the purchase, and it was a vacant lot purchased for about $14,000, and you know, it's kind of just the circumstance of the risk of investment when you're buying property by quitclaim. Good due diligence would have identified that this was out there.
So was this property at one time owned by Abdulaziz H.W. Who?
Yes.
Okay. All right, well, what can I say? You're in the vapor trail of a deadbeat.
Yes.
The only thing I can offer you is, and we don't like giving, that's why these things are cross-referenced.
Okay.
I'd be amenable to reducing the fine and the lien to the sum of $500. What say you to that?
So we have to pay his fine to release our property, is that correct?
No, if you want to pay his fine, that'd be $15,024. Did you want to pay his fine?
No, I'm okay with the I'm okay with the 500.
Okay, I just thought we might have had a little miscommunication.
You got my attention.
Okay, if you'll contact Ms. Reno, she'll take care of that for you.
We appreciate that.
Within 30 days.
All right, now make sure you do it within 30 days now.
Oh, it'll be done
it'll
today.
be done today.
All right, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, we had a couple of people show up after the fact.
601.
Okay. Do we know if this other person? Okay.
You know, I don't want to get smart with a lawyer. Okay, what am I here on?
Your Honor, I'd like to apologize for being late. I didn't know where it was. I was running around looking for it, so that's
Okay,
why I'm
is
late.
this,
But
so this is Talib LLC and Mr. Yates? And your name is?
Jack Yates.
Okay. All right, if you would please be sworn by our secretary.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a fine that apparently started on August 4 of 2022 in the amount of $200 per day, so somebody must have been pretty aggravated.
Right.
And it ran to the maximum of $20,000. And so it was only capped because It was statutorily capped.
Mr. Verkelder,
Number 7.
there's an agreement. There is an agreement.
There's an agreement?
Yes, sir. The city and Mr. Yates have entered into an agreement to reduce the lien to $1,000 to administrative costs.
Wow, Christmas came early. Okay. All right, is that your agreement?
Sure. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, well, then, based upon the stipulation, pursuant to the stipulation of the parties, upon payment of $1,000 within 30 days, then the fine, the order imposing fine/lien that is currently in the amount of $20,024 will be vacated and canceled. Make sure that $1,000 is paid within those 30 days, or else it remains in effect as is.
Okay.
Okay, good luck to you.
Yep, thank you.
You're welcome.
And everything we know?
It's not feeling a lot of gratitude around here these days. Okay, do we have anything else to be brought before the special magistrate?
Nope, not aware of anything else.
Boom, we're done. Thank you, folks.
Thank you.